life cannot form by naturalistic means. To be scientific, the procedure must be, as we mentioned earlier, observable, statistical, and repeatable. Now we get down to business. Evolution's attempt at explaining the origin of life fails on all three of these counts. It's never been observed to happen. Evolution, the origin of life, or the progression of life to higher organisms, has never been observed. It's only in the mind and hope of the evolutionist that it would occur. It's never been observed. It is not statistical. They cannot point to a specific process by which it has happened, and it's certainly not repeatable by naturalistic means. Evolution's attempt at explaining the origin of life fails on all three of these counts. However, I'm going to make a bold statement. Creation's explanation is scientific to the full degree. Observable, statistical, and repeatable. Actually, Scripture surrounds the abiogenesis topic with the mention of all the primary scientific disciplines. This old book is not pulled off the shelf of speculation. What is abiogenesis? Life from non-life. And that's what evolution is trying to accomplish. Evolutionists are trying to accomplish. But at every turn, they have major obstacles. God must like to laugh a lot because they work a lot at doing this. So abiogenesis is life from non-life. Okay, that very topic is mentioned, surrounded by all of the scientific disciplines. God that made the world, we're talking about Acts 17:24 through 26. God that made the world, that's the cosmos, the universe, cosmology, and all things therein, saying that He's Lord of heaven, that's astronomy, and earth, that's geology, dwelleth not in temples made with hands, seeing He, watch, He giveth. That means to bring forth. All life, that's abiogenesis. If they have life, it has to be given to them. It has to be brought forth. It cannot arise on its own. He giveth. There is an orchestrator who took all of the increments and elements he produced by acoustical energy, and from those elements, he produced living organisms. That's abiogenesis. Okay, that's nice to think about, but let's have him do it again. Life, abiogenesis, and breath, that's physiology, and all things, that's husbandry, all the living systems around the plants and the flowers, and have made of one blood all nations of men, that's anthropology. Man did not develop from a lower organism. He made man. All of that is stated here. The Creator alone has mastery over abiogenesis. Again, what is abiogenesis? That's life from non-life. In John chapter 2, at the marriage of Cana of Galilee, Jesus turned water to wine. That was His beginning of miracles. In doing so, He did the following. He instructed that water. What's water composed of? H2O. What's H2O? Hydrogen and oxygen. Now, water is necessary to keep life going, but on its own, water is not alive. It's just two chemical elements. I mean, you can churn it, you can burn it, you can evaporate it, you can condense it, but water itself cannot produce life. Now, scientists know that water is necessary for life as we know it to keep that life sustained, because all living systems use water. But water itself is not alive. It's just hydrogen and oxygen. So watch. John chapter 2, He instructed that water, inorganic chemical elements, hydrogen and oxygen, be poured into the vessels, verse 7. He then requested that the substance he instantly made, and by the way, back to the vessels, he specifies numerically how large each vessel was. It was either 2 firkins or 3 firkins. Firkin, you put 2 or 3 firkins together, that's like a 5-gallon drum. They were either 2 or 3, and he instructed you, fill them to the brim. He then requested that the substance he instantly made, new wine, new grape juice, with the liquid enzymes and cells of fruit with intact DNA. It was real. It wasn't flavored water. It was living new wine. It was grape juice. What does grape juice have in it? Actually, it has enzymes. It has cells in it. It has peelings of the grapes in it. Just drink enough, etc. It's from a living system. It has all of those. Then he said, should be taken to the governor of the feast. Now watch the results. In this beginning of miracles, verse 11, the Creator performed the creation of a living substance from non-living elements, as he did on day 3 of creation, in his direct mastery over physical phenomena. This creative incident by Christ was, number 1, observable. Cana of Galilee, wedding officials noted the change. Number 2, it was statistical. The dimensions of the individual water pots were specified. And 3, it was repeatable in that Christ duplicated the miracle in this vessel, and in this vessel, and in this vessel, each with a specified statistical amount of volume. So the miracle was repeated. Wow! Evolution's never done that. So you say, if the Creator did all of that, why doesn't He show His face? He did. And there's a whole book describing exactly what He did while He was here. But that's not all. He lived. He died. For us, by the way. He was buried. But that's not the end of the story. What happened after we put Him in a tomb? See, He rose again. He's alive. And through His Spirit, you know what He does to each one of us? If we receive Him, He takes an old dead person and brings that person to life. That's everlasting abiogenesis. And it's new life. We can do things. We can think thoughts that we couldn't think before. And we can refuse thoughts that we wouldn't refuse before. So here we have, only in the creation model, the fulfillment of the scientific principles involved. Observability, statisticals, and repeatability.